Alright, this is gigantic sized X-Statix by Spike Milligan and Red Michael. And this comic was released to zero fanfare, and that is probably what it deserves. This is like a big comeback reunion of X-Statix almost 20 years later. X-Statix was a book that was contemporary to Van Morrison's Excellent Men run, and it was mostly really solid. It was an irreverent satire, and just as it was starting to get a bit hard and feel repetitive, it ended. I will say there are worse prospects than doing a revamp of the team, but this doesn't do it very well. We've got a mix of odd characters and new characters here. The main character is Go-Go Girl, or rather Go-Go Girl's daughter, who is a lot less sexy than her mum because she doesn't wear the red lipstick. In the original series, Go-Go Girl had an illegitimate daughter, so it does feel quite natural to come back to her when she's all grown up. This whole story, though, requires you to just ignore the idea of Marvel's sliding timescale. The time that has passed between the last X-Statix story and this is apparently equal to that of the real world. Also, there's the original Go-Go Girl, really sexy. She was like the best one. But yeah, her daughter has become kind of obsessed with her. X-Statix ended with like all the characters dying, so doing a revisit would be especially hard. But we start off with some fairly well thought out approaches by having Death Girl and Dop here. They are the two that were either not killed or were already dead to begin with. And then we have got Go-Go Girl's daughter, which, as I said, makes sense. She gets a visit from the Casbah of her sexy mom. And see there, the red lips. It's really sexy on the pale blue skin. Most people fancy Go-Go Girl, and with good reason. Meanwhile, there is some baddies who are looking for Go-Go Girl's daughter. And then the daughter's powers start to manifest, and unimaginatively, they're exactly the same as her mom's. Then her skin turns pale blue as well, and she really needs to start wearing the lipstick if she's ever gonna win me around. This is a page though where I gave up on the book. Here we have got two characters from the original run. They are resurrected, they're brought back to life, and it's simply hand waved away, saying that they weren't dead, they just had close brushes with death. And that's annoying. These characters, they are Gay Wolf and Mr. Orphan. And the reason it is annoying is, well, if you're just going to do this, you might as well do it for all the characters. Give us a full-on reunion. The original Go-Go Girl, Anachronist, Princess Di. But instead, we have this, and the idea also doesn't work because we definitely saw Mr. Orphan in the afterlife in the final X-Statix story. Not only that, but to bring him back completely undermines and ruins the happy ending that the character was given. Then we have got some more stuff with Go-Go daughter. She still isn't popping on a bit of lippy, and that's probably why these baddies want to kidnap her, to try and teach her that she can look really sexy with a bold contrasting lip colour. There's her mum again, and the book is such a cock tease, showing her every few pages. But I think the biggest problem with this comic is that it has absolutely nothing to say. The original book, it was really witty and topical, and this just has nothing at all to say. You would think that, like, almost 20 years later, society and culture had changed enough that there would be, like, a whole slew or things to comment on or satirise, but apparently there's no. Also, we have this, look, 2 men in a bed. This is just embarrassing. If they'd done this in the original run, this would be something to comment on. It'd have been like the first depiction of 2 men in a bed in a comic, but now this is just nothing. It's being done and it just feels like needless virtue signalling here. If you really want to say something and at the same time play to the tone and the style of the original X-Statix series, have them bumming each other on panel. Like hardcore anally fornicating each other graphically, and treat it as pedestrian as this. That'd be much better than this sad sack desperate attempt to appear relevant by flirting with something that isn't even taboo. Also, Anachronist, he has a son that he never mentioned ever, and now he is old enough to be his replacement. Also, the fat one, Dob just made a female test tube clone of him. So if you're going the lengths to try and find and create proxy versions of the original characters like this, but you were also being so cavalier to just have 2 of the original come back from death, why not just bring back all the originals? Another character that comes back from the dead, Zit Ghost, and I think he's the main reason this book got greenlit. This character, he was in Dead Pills 2. He died in the very first issue of X-Statix, but he was apparently just in a coma, even though I'm sure we saw him get blown into pieces. There is one line of dialogue here which mentions the culture war, and that is the closest thing the book gets to addressing something from modern life worth lampooning. There's also a real hint that Spike Milligan and Red Michael are incredibly out of touch and really not capable of this sort of tongue-in-cheek, ironic send-up of popular culture and the world anymore. Like here, we have got a reference to fucking Jennifer Lopez. So naturally, they beat the baddies, and now they all get to be X-Statix again. And even Go-Go Daughter starts to like it. And this is all leading up to a new ongoing series called The Excellent by the same creative team, except this isn't happening anymore. It doesn't fit in with Jonathan Huckleberry's plans, so they've apparently just cancelled it. Which means that this book serves no purpose. In my opinion, it failed at the reunion aspect, since the majority of the characters are not actually the original characters, and at least one of the ones who are the original characters has had his character arc overturned. There's very little comedy or wit in it, and it surprisingly has nothing at all to say. Yeah, that's going to be my overall conclusion. This has nothing to say. I rate it 7 thumbs up.